Hi. Um, Muslims try to say that Surah Al-Alaq, Surah 96, isn't the clot, but is really the clinging leech-like substance. But guess what I found? Check this out from Sahih Authentic Muslim. Chapter 1, the growth of a child in the womb of a mother and his destiny in regard to his livelihood, his deeds, both good and evil. This is from Sahih Muslim Book 33, number 6390. Abdullah bin Masud reported that Allah's Messenger, Papa, who is the most truthful of the human beings, really, yeah, and his being truthful is a fact is added, said, quote, this is supposedly Muhammad said, but you want to know something goes along with this surah called Alaq, which is Surah 96. Okay, then Muhammad said, verily, your creation is on this wise. The constituents of one of you are collected for 40 days in his mother's womb in the form of blood, which becomes a clot of blood in another period of 40 days. Then it becomes, really? After which it becomes a clot of blood in another period of 40 days? Does that sound scientific? Well, it goes on. Then becomes a lump of flesh, and 40 days later Allah sends his angel to it with instructions concerning 4 things. So the angel writes down his livelihood, his death, his deeds, his fortune and misfortune. By him, that's Allah, besides whom there is no God. I wonder how many times that's been said. That one amongst you acts like the people deserving paradise, until between him and paradise there remains but the distance of a cubit, when suddenly the writing of destiny overcomes him, and he begins to act like the denizens of hell, and thus enters hell. In other words, when the Quran says all leads on and off the right path as it pleases, as Allah pleases, it's not lying. And another one acts in the way of the denizens of hell, probably questioning Islam like I'm doing, until there remains between him and hell a distance of a cubit, that the writing of destiny overtakes him, and then he begins to act like the people of paradise and enters paradise. In other words, if Allah wrote that I'm going to go to paradise, I'll suddenly have this huge urge to have my patootie in the air 5 times a day on a prayer rug. Or I'll join ISIS and start sawing off heads. Okay, let's see that again and shorten it. Okay, Book 33, number 6390. Abdullah bin Masud reported that Allah's Messenger, Papa, who is the most truthful of the human beings and is being truthful is a fact, said, quote, verily your creation is on this wise. The constituents of one of you are collected for 40 days in his mother's womb in the form of blood, after which it becomes a blood clot in another period of 40 days. Then it becomes a lump of flesh, and 40 days later Allah sends his angels to instruct concerning 4 things. So the angel writes down his livelihood, his death, his deeds, his fortune and misfortune. By him, Allah, besides whom there is no God. Again, and I'll make it even shorter and to the point here. So here we go. The constituents of one of you collected for 40 days in his mother's womb in the form of blood, after which it becomes a clot of blood in another period of 40 days. 40 days is a blood clot? How much you want to bet an embryo is not even a blood clot for 40 seconds? You know why? Because blood clots are dead blood. They're worthless blood. All they do is cause problems. But Muhammad thought that an embryo becomes a blood clot, and for 40 days. Isn't that amazing? How much you want to bet that he saw a miscarriage, saw the embryo with blood clot around it, and thought, oh, it comes from a blood clot. And that's how he ended up thinking. That's how we have the surah called the clot. Well, anyway, I'll read on further here. And further still. Quote, after which it becomes a clot of blood in another period of 40 days. And further, clot of blood in another period of 40 days. Notice it never said like a leech, or like a clinging leech, or nothing like, or it didn't even say a clinging leech-like substance, or didn't even say like chewed food, It said instead, quote, clot of blood in another period of 40 days. You know, Muhammad blew it. He's a false prophet. An embryo is never a blood clot. Ever. Ever.